logically, everything is in place for me to be mega rich. But for some reason, it's not the case. Now you know why. If you've been befuddled by money in your life, where it doesn't logically make sense why you don't have the amount of money that you think you should have, you're not alone. I have struggled financially for my whole adult life. And from the outside, it doesn't make any sense. Let's say there are 10 categories in your life, like your relationships, your family, your health, fitness, career, money, spirituality, social life, etc. Let's say each of these life categories are rated on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is at the center of the wheel and 10 is at the edge. If I were to rate my own life on a scale of 1 to 10 across these categories, it would look like a circle except for 1. The finance category is at a 1 out of 10. Why do I feel so proficient in all areas of my life except for the finance one? So this weekend I realized, looking at my circle of life in this way, I sat down to journal. And what came through in that journaling session is I do not have a logical relationship with money. It's even deeper than emotion. It's in my subconscious, and it's related to my identity. Your identity is a set of values and belief systems about yourself and about the world. Connecting those two dots governs how much money you earn and how much money you keep. I'll share some of the things that came through to me while I was journaling, and you'll be able to see how even with the most clever, well thought out, well documented and researched plans, how I would never be able to earn any more money than what I have right now. Never. My hope for you in making this video is twofold. One, that if you resonate with the premise, to know that you're not alone. I shared my insights with 5 other people, and every single one of them had this aha moment of like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And my second hope of this video for you is that you do this exercise for yourself so you can understand what your true identity is and how it's conflicting with how you feel about money. Once you are able to clearly define both of these, what your identity is and how you perceive people with money, I believe you will be able to connect the dots and close the gap. So this is not a video on budgeting. It's not about how to get rich quick. It's not about how to make more sales. It's about understanding your own values and belief systems and how those relate to people who have money, including the idea of you yourself being a person with money. I want to preface this by saying if you do decide to try this exercise and journal with yourself, there are a few things to keep in mind. 1, give yourself enough time. This session took about 2 hours for me, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. I had enough time to sit down and actually feel. The second thing is your mind will jump in and try to correct you. The mind is a tool that's built to protect your identity. So anything that tries to question your identity, there's something inside of you that will jump up and stand in the way. And it won't allow you to get to the deeper root, the core meaning of what you're trying to achieve. With that in mind, let's get into it. The prompt I asked myself is, how do I feel about being rich? Now, I use the word rich for a purpose. It's emotionally charged for me, as it is for many people. The word rich or wealthy is the extreme version of financial stability, independence, and then abundance. It's at the top end of the range, and I did that on purpose because that's what System 1 is thinking. System 1 doesn't know nuance. It just sees the general picture, and that's how it makes decisions, and then it informs your motor cortex to go about the world and take different actions. Here were some of the things that came up when I asked myself, how do I feel about being rich? Unnecessary was the first word that came to mind. Frivolous was the second word that came to mind. Rich people are shallow. They don't have deep relationships. Rich people are lonely. Being rich means I can't connect with most people that I interact with. Rich people are hiding something. Being rich means I end the journey. Being rich means I found the answer. Being rich means I stop growing. Rich people are lazy. Rich people don't use their brains to create solutions. They use their money to buy solutions. Being rich means I no longer need to explore. Rich people are invulnerable. Rich people don't have their own opinions. They follow trends. They're sheep. Rich people aren't unique. Rich people don't struggle. And because they don't struggle, they're not vulnerable. And because they're not vulnerable, they have trouble connecting. And because they have trouble connecting with other people, they don't have deep relationships. They have shallow relationships. And because they don't have deep relationships, rich people are lonely. Being rich means there's no more mystery to life. Being rich means there's no more reason to explore. These were all my subconscious beliefs about how I feel about being rich that are withholding me from acquiring financial abundance. I can say I'm motivated by money. I can say that I want to be rich. See, my subconscious System 1 logic thought that if I could solve the challenge of making money for myself, money would then replace all the other things about my identity that I have built and fought for over the last 3+ decades. This was a huge realization for me. If you're resonating with any of this, what it means is you are giving yourself an ultimatum anytime money is involved. Make money or keep your identity. There are people that we love in our life that we would do anything for. Your identity is a person. It's you. And if there's someone in your life you think you love and would do anything for, I guarantee you they are minuscule compared to what you will do to preserve and survive your own identity. The core of this journaling session led me to find that I identify as a seeker. I've built my life around not knowing the answer. Anything that I'm involved in has to do with entering an ambiguous situation and striving to bring clarity to it. It's ingrained in my identity to be a trailblazer. But what happens is because my identity is a seeker, if I'm blazing a trail through this metaphorical forest, as soon as I can see the other side of the forest, I stop. Because what happens if I clear the rest of the path and I exit the forest on the other side and walk through a meadow with nothing to fight? Suddenly, that version is no longer a seeker. They've arrived at the destination. I execute 90% of a project and leave the 10% unfinished because finishing that last 10% would kill the identity of being a seeker. Instead of a seeker, once I complete a process, I am now a knower. I have the answer. I've completed something, and therefore I'm no longer an explorer. I've navigated the path. This is why you procrastinate. This is why you have open loops your entire life. This is why you don't finish your projects. This is why you get so close to a breakthrough, to the next level of success in your life, the next biggest version of you. You can see it, you can taste it, and you give up. Or you choose to go to another project. Or you justify why this path didn't work out the way you thought it would. This is what you tell everybody because this is what you tell yourself. You believe that if you complete the project, it would disprove everything you've built about your identity. The challenging thing is money is transacted when something is completed. There's a line that is crossed where money then crosses back. And if you get very close to that line, but you never cross the line to complete it, then money will never come back to you. And you may verbalize and say, I want money. Of course I want money. Who doesn't want to be rich? But what you haven't realized yet is you're not being paid by finances. You don't care about finances. Internally, what your subconscious cares about is preserving their identity of being a seeker. And the reward system that you've created for yourself is being emotionally paid out and validated that you are the type of person that does hard things. That process is the payment for you. And you're frustrated because you do so much hard work. You work your ass off. You have a harder work ethic than anybody you know. And you're smarter and you're more communicative and you're charismatic and you have a nice social network. But none of that matters when it comes to making money. Money only crosses the boundary when something is completed. And being someone who completes something, who finishes, is a fundamentally different identity than someone who blazes a trail. In a conversation I was having with a friend, as I was telling him about these new insights that came through my journaling, I said, bro, I went to an AI event on Friday and there was an author who wrote this book called The Death of a Job. It's about the future of work in the age of AI. And I said, I can't wait to read it. And it was sitting on top of another book on my coffee table that is unfinished. And guess what? This book has only about 10% of the way to go. I'm almost finished with this book. And guess what it's called? The Digital Seeker. It just seemed like so many things were aligning. And as I was telling my friend this and showing him the book, he said, "Oh, is that money that you've used as a bookmark?" And I said, "Yeah, it is. I started doing this over 10 years ago. And the concept of why I started doing this is when I complete a book, I get to keep the money that's been used as a bookmark." He said, "Bro, how many books have you read 90% of the way through?" And I said, "Almost all of them." And I'm not kidding you. I didn't do this just for the video, but I went over to my bookcase and I just pulled a couple off the shelf. I just want to show you a couple examples. Front of the book, these are 80 to 90% of the way read, but they're not finished. I was reading this one in 2025. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Halfway through. Hook Points, a marketing book, about 60% of the way through. Look. Money. Sell or be sold. How to earn more money. Guess what? There's money sitting in it. Ego is the enemy. It's all about identity. And guess what? There's money in it. The very behavior of my identity that identifies as someone who doesn't complete things, because when I complete things, my identity would be disproven. But when I complete something is when I earn money. That whole concept is literally manifesting in my physical reality right in front of my face every single day. If I complete a book, I get money. I couldn't believe it. So I know I'm not alone in this. I know that so many people look at their lives and they say everything is perfect, except I haven't figured out the financial aspect of things, and it doesn't make logical sense. I work hard. I try my best. I'm at a good company. I have a strong network. I have the skills. I'm organized to have a plan. Logically, everything is in place for me to be mega rich. But for some reason, it's not the case. Now you know why. It's because executing on things that bring you money would actually kill the identity that you've worked so hard to create. So now moving forward, the goal is not to change our identity, it's to change the relationship of how that identity perceives money. If you want to follow along to see how I'm shaping my identity to make it safe and aligned to actually earn money and preserve my identity, hit the subscribe button and share this video with a friend who needs to hear it.